Chumripsur, Namaste, hello. It was here at Phnom Kulen in Cambodia that the mighty Khmer Empire was born when Jayavarman II anointed himself king, breaking away from the Hindu Java Empire. In this series, we will see how the Indic influence was absorbed and adopted into the local culture and is still a pivot point around which the Cambodian culture and life revolve.
Hello and welcome again to Forgotten Temples with myself, Mr. B. And the truth is, I didn't think I would be bringing you here. This is Prasat Linga 1 in the Koh Ker complex. Now, we have done another Linga temple, and that has its unique qualities, but this one is outstanding. On revisiting it, I thought there's no way I cannot show this because it is just stunning. The linga that is in here is so enormous, it dominates the whole temple. It takes it over. But we won't dwell too long because in the second half of this brief video, we're off to Prasat Srot, and there I can show you how these ancient builders put these wondrous temples together. So grasp my hand firmly as we go on another brief adventure here in wondrous Cambodia, visiting those ancient Hindu gods that travelled oh so far from home and ended up here. Now, isn't this incredible? It is an absolutely stunning sight. Trying to give you the best possible view of this has been extremely difficult. The space here is so very restrictive. It's barely the width of my shoulders. And I don't have the luxury of a cameraman. I walk alone, I travel alone. And on my lonely journeys, I come across such wonders as these. I mean, just look at it. All along here, we have this fantastic detailing. It continues on this second layer, and it is the same story on the base. This is not just grand and mighty and strong, it is also extremely delicate. And by standing back here, hopefully you can get an idea as to how this Shiva Linga takes this space and completely dominates it. Another way for me to show you the size of this is to come this way. And if you're having trouble seeing me, that's because it has literally dwarfed me. Do not underestimate the size of this Shiva Linga. Now, I would not be so disrespectful as to climb up here, but there is a small jutting stone, so I can perch myself here so you can get an idea as to its size. Being in the presence of this Shiva Linga is something remarkably special because it is 100% complete. And it's not just that. The Soma Sutra, the channel here that takes away that sacred, blessed water, is also still connected with the exterior wall. So 1,000 years after this was built, it is still working. The journey of those Hindu gods is quite simply amazing when you think about it. To find a place here in far-off Cambodia, they crossed tempestuous seas. They travelled through vast tracts of land, and it was totally hostile. It's jungle, and I've spent a lot of time in the jungle. And in the jungle, if it's not trying to stab you, poison you, it's trying to eat you. It is a horrible place to spend any time. But here, in the middle of an abandoned city, we find an absolutely amazing Shiva Linga. But the journey wasn't complete, because people came here from far and wide, and they were looking for help, for guidance, for blessings. And what they would have done is gone inside, and they would have brought, let's say, water and poured it over the linga. It would have gone down the Soma Sutra, and finally the journey would be complete when that water appeared here. But it was no longer normal water. This was blessed water. And as I like to quote, in some ways it was magical. It is an incredible tale to consider. Now, this is not our only temple in this video, for I promised you another, one that will explain how sites such as this were built. Here we are at that second site. This is Prasad Srot. Now, do you remember from our first episode, I took you up that amazing pyramid? If you haven't seen episode 1 in this series, I implore you to have a look, because it doesn't get much better than that. So that pyramid is literally just there. This temple is opposite, and this wall is the major feature, really, because the rest of it has fallen down. So why is it I'm bringing you here? Well, its demise is our benefit, because when disassembled, we can look at the wiring under the board, and we can see how these places were built. And the engineering that went into them is astonishing. Here we get a very good example as to how these temples were built. Down here we see a window. What has happened is the dust and the sand of time has risen up, consuming some of it. But it's over here we need to go. Now look at this large block. If I put my hand here, you can get an idea as to size. And what we see is 2 holes, one here, one there. Now these you will see everywhere, and they're for a purpose. Without them, the temple could not be built, because in here goes wooden dowels, and when they stick out like so, ropes can be attached and they can be hauled up. When put in position, those dowels would be taken out and be reused again. From here, we just need to take a few short steps to see our next example, and that is the wonderful thing about this temple. Now here we see a different format, and that is we see numerous holes. And the reason for this could be twofold. One, for fixing one piece of stone to another, but also to add decoration. If you wanted to put, let's say, a wooden plate on here that has beautiful carvings, then you'd have matching dimples that would fit snugly into these holes and keep it secure. Just there is the wall where I opened this video. Through here is that enormous pyramid, but it is this way that I wish to show you some more details. Have a look at this. This beautiful swirl would once have adorned above a doorway, and there's a few of them laying around. As you can tell as I move forward, this temple is in terrible disrepair, and I think that potentially it was over-engineered. It's kind of, they got too fussy with it. And what I mean by that is amplified by this singular stone. Let me clear away the debris here. What we see is almost a curve that then hits a flat lip with, of course, a channel being created. We go to the side here and we have holes here to butt up with the next stone. Now, there's even more, because along this entire edge is yet more holes, and these are deep. I can still remove earth and my entire finger disappears. Remember, these chaps had rudimentary metal tools, and digging into this hard stone, well, it has to be a labour of love. Now, if all that is not enough, we see that the side of it has been dressed. Can you see these lines here? We have different steps going all the way down. The amount of labour that went into this one stone is breathtaking. It is this temple, above all of those at this ancient city of Koh Ker, that give us a very clear idea as to how they were constructed. I mean, just consider that last block I showed you. It is complicated beyond complicated. And if you saw the first episode where we visited that enormous pyramid, you know that we are dealing with millions of tons of masonry and millions of hours of labour. It is absolutely astonishing as to what they achieved. As always, I ask you to please comment on this video. As you know, it is the Embassy of India who is supporting this project. And if you enjoy these little adventures, then comment below. I beg of you, because then they will know and they will send me off on yet more adventures, and I promise to take you with me. As always, I wish you absolutely nothing but the very best. You take good care.